Welcome to Tango Tips with Mika. Today I want to talk about the revolutionary. I want to talk about Astor Piazzolla. I dare say that Astor Piazzolla is the most famous Argentinian musician in the world. Of course, he's very well known in the tango scene worldwide, but he's also the only tango musician who is famous all over the world for people who don't have anything to do with tango. So, Astor Piazzolla pushed tango to its limits and beyond. He made it crack and explode, and he created his very own style of tango. Let's have a look. Before I want to talk about how Piazzolla revolutionized tango, I want to have a look at who is this great Astor, as people call him here in Argentina. Let's get started. Who is Piazzolla? Piazzolla was born in 1921 in Mar del Plata, next to the Argentinian seaside. When he was 4 years old, his family moved to New York. And there he grew up listening to tango at home because his father loved tango, and even more so because he was so nostalgic of Argentina. But on the streets, he heard jazz. Already as a young child, Astor started playing music. First the piano, and then his father, who loved tango, gave him a bandoneon. So he started studying this wonderful instrument, which will make him famous in the future. And this is where he had his first performance with a tango musician. At a very young age, he performed in a movie together with Carlos Gardel, the golden age of tango. In 1937, the family Piazzolla moved back to Argentina, just in time for the golden age of tango. And he just dived into it because he was playing the bandoneon so well that he played and performed with a lot of different and famous orchestras of the time. One of them would be, for example, Caló. You remember, he just collected young talents. But the most important one was Troilo. Troilo taught him everything, especially the emotion. And as Piazzolla himself put it in a letter he wrote to Troilo, "Thank you for everything you gave me, for teaching me about the mysteries of tango and the bandoneon." Composer and arranger, Piazzolla was such a talented musician that not only did he play as a bandoneon player in so many orchestras, but he was also requested, especially looked for, from different orchestras, famous orchestras of the time, to compose for them and make arrangements of already existing songs. So you see how deeply rooted Piazzolla was in tango. Not only was he playing, but also composing, arranging, and he was really deep in this tango moment of the golden age, nurturing himself from all the great orchestras of that time. However, he was such a virtuous and talented musician with such a hunger for music that he kind of overloaded the notes sometimes. And Troilo told him once, here you can see Troilo and Astor together. So Troilo said to him, "You have to take away notes, because if not, my musicians will get angry with me because they have to study." And this was kind of the problem Piazzolla had at this moment with the tango scene. He considered them mediocre, lazy, and conservative. Nothing wanted to change, no one wanted to study, and he wanted so much more. So Piazzolla moved to Paris to study composition, and there he found himself. He found himself through studying with Nadia Boulanger. Who's this woman? Well, she is the maker of musicians, and she has a long list of students who became really famous, like Leonard Bernstein, Philip Glass, Barenboim, and so many more. So Piazzolla played the piano for her, showing her a composition he had made, and she wasn't really satisfied. At the same time, he had his bandoneon next to him, and she asked, "And this instrument, what's that?" And he was a bit ashamed of the bandoneon, like all the folk culture. But she insisted, and he played for her. He played the song Triomphal. If you can, look it up. It's wonderful, yes? And this is exactly what she said. This is you. This is Astor Piazzolla. This is what you have to play. And this is where Piazzolla started his tango. Now, what makes Piazzolla's style different from the traditional tango we listen to at the milonga? 1. Tempo. Piazzolla's music is either slower or faster than a traditional tango. 2. Length. A traditional tango lasts more or less 3 minutes. Piazzolla didn't care about these 3 minutes. He made symphonies, concerts. He used so many different structures with a lot of different lengths. So he didn't respect this 3-minute rule. So for example, have a look at the length of this song, Tristeza de un doble A. Lasts like 22 minutes, right? 3. Bandoneon. So in the traditional orchestras, you would see the lines of bandoneonists sitting and playing, yes? Piazzolla did something different and unique. He stood up, put his foot on a chair and played like this. And you can imagine the kind of sound and power this gives, yes? So apart from the sound, what does this posture mean? Piazzolla put himself in the center as a soloist, as a performer, as a musician. And this important status applied to each and every member of his orchestra. Each one was a soloist, a huge musician. By the way, do you know where the bandoneon is from originally? If so, comment below. 5. Influences of other styles. Piazzolla used influences from different musical styles, especially jazz and classical music. Now, jazz. He was, for example, performing with his groups at the Montreal Jazz Festival. And if you listen to different recordings of the same song, you can see that it's never the same because the musicians were kind of improvising, kind of jamming over these pieces. The classical music is very obvious. For example, when we have a look at the 4 seasons of tango. It's like the 4 seasons of Vivaldi. He also was very influenced by Stravinsky. And of course the structure of concerts and symphonies he used to compose. There's one recording I really recommend you to listen to. It's the 8 seasons, 4 seasons of Piazzolla, 4 seasons of Vivaldi, played by Guidon Crema and the Camerata Baltica. Absolutely wonderful. 6. Other genres. So Piazzolla liked to experiment a lot. He invited a lot of different musicians to play with him, which had not been very common in the traditional tango. For example, the saxophonist Jerry Mulligan, he also composed for movies, he wrote a tango opera, and so on. So his creativity had no limits. Piazzolla was an artist. He didn't care about the rules. He cared about the emotion, the music, and he wanted to go with the music from our ears to our heart. And this is what he achieved, I think. He made tango famous in the whole world. Now the question is, can we dance to the music of Piazzolla? Of course! His music wants me to dance my heart out. Now, you want to know how? I will tell you in the next tip. I hope you've enjoyed this tango tip. If you want to receive the next one as soon as it gets out, subscribe to our website. And if you subscribe, you will receive not only a free lesson of Ladies Technique with Mika, but also information about our magical ladies tango trips to Buenos Aires, where you will study with me in person and with Cristian and dance with a wonderful group of Argentinian dancers. Check out our dates on our website and please help us by sharing, liking and commenting as always. And see you next time. Bye bye.